Hello, my name's Jason Hancock, Spencer Stewart. I'm going to talk to Bill McDermott today, the CEO of SAP. We're going to touch on a number of points, including Bill's leadership style and how he has built SAP into the leading business software company. In addition, we're going to get to know Bill a little bit more by talking about his book, Winner's Dream, a journey from corner store to corner office. Tell us about the industry as a whole. You've been in the software industry for many years, the technology industry, more broadly speaking, before that. How have you seen the software industry evolve in the time that you've been in the industry?
The customer still, wants an integrated enterprise. Mm-hmm. And as much as things change, in certain senses, they do stay the same. We're now in an industry where we have to redefine the perfect enterprise. Mm-hmm. And instead of best of breed and line of business applications that appeal to a singular buying center, I think the CEO recognizes that IT no longer just supports the business, it is the business. And everybody has to have the competency of a CIO when they think about their business strategy and the enablement of it. Yes. So we see a perfect enterprise where you have a real-time, in-memory platform to handle all the data, structured, unstructured, social, coming into one platform. And we believe in integrating the enterprise across the entire management chain. So you have one management team that's running business processes across the enterprise, and those processes are connected and integrated. Beyond that, we see the business network not only integrating business and watching that that's done thoughtfully within the walls of companies, but also between companies. Mm-hmm. So when you think about indirect materials or procuring things, or contingent workforces, which is the fastest growing workforce in the world, or travel and expense, for example, which is a large part of the operating budget of a company. Yes. How do you do all that digitally between companies to enable things to be more productive and digital?
Yes. As a German organization now led by a US CEO, if you'd asked any employee or customer or partner 5 years ago whether or not the company would be headed by an American, I think they would roll their eyes and say, no chance. Tell us about the culture that you've built within the organization and how you've done that.
Well, I have to, first of all, recognize that the culture existed long before me. Mm-hmm. And, if you think about the great Hasso Plattner and the original founders of our company, they built a customer-centric, innovative company that really made people count. Yes. And the happiness of the people, the satisfaction of the customers, and the continuous flow and commitment to innovation was at the forefront of the culture then. It still is. Yes. I think what's unique about me as a human being coming into SAP in 2002 to lead the Americas is that the company had the temperament to accept people from the outside. And if those individuals earned the credibility and the trust of the people and the customer and showed an unwavering commitment to SAP, it just goes to show you that you got a fair chance to rise. And for that, the empathy on the part of the supervisory board, and especially Hasso Plattner, deserves tremendous credit. Yes. And I think what it says is SAP is neither a German or US company, but instead is a truly global software market leader. Mm-hmm. And you have to operate in all the theaters of the world.
And along the way, you've acquired Sybase, Business Objects, Concur, just to name 3 of the acquisitions that you've made along the way. How do you maintain and continue to evolve the culture when you bring in a new organ into the big body of SAP?
When we rethought our strategy in 2010, we were proud of the fact that SAP was the #1 business software company in the world in applications and analytics. Mm-hmm. We also recognized that we were participating in a $110 billion US market. Yeah. That's a very nice market, and we were the absolute market leader and fantastic company. But when we thought about where the world was going, the millennials being the only generation ever born into the mobile device, as you know, by 2020, 50% of the workforce will be the millennial generation. When you think about the Internet of Things and the power of big data and exploding data in the enterprise, especially with all those devices and the Internet of Things coming into the enterprise, we knew we needed a better way to manage data and therefore the unbelievable invention of SAP HANA is truly changing the world of in-memory making enterprises real time. We then thought about the cloud. And when we thought about the cloud, we didn't have much of a presence in the cloud in 2010, a la some of the acquisitions you mentioned, like Ariba, like SuccessFactors, like Fieldglass, and of course now Concur.
Yes.
The strategy had to go on, and the cloud had to advance very, very quickly. So we took what we did organically and complemented it with these excellent M&A moves. And our strategy was really buy the market-leading, best software company in the cloud that money can buy, and complement the market-leading business suite and analytics platform, and do it all on HANA.
Yes.
And truly integrate that whole enterprise. So while on a technical level we integrate everything, we put everything on HANA, and we enable companies to be real time. We still abide by the principle that leadership and cultures matter. And sometimes you can't immediately integrate the people into the SAP equation. On the contrary, it's sometimes better to leave it a little bit on the independent side, particularly on the business network. So when you think about the moves we made in the business network, indirect materials, indirect labor, as we discussed, and also the travel and entertainment piece with Concur, it's important that lots of innovators that are outside of SAP build on those platforms. It's also important that up to and including our competitors view those as their platforms to conduct these business activities. So having a sense of independence for them, leaving their brands to stand on their own merits in the open marketplace, is also a component of our growth strategy. And therefore, it's a delicate balance between integration on the technology side, respect for leadership and cultures, and then also recognizing when you got a bigger vision than just that of your own company, letting things in the free market prevail, which we have done with the business network assets.
Yes. And you mentioned the customer, and let's just go back to the software industry a little bit, if you don't mind. Tell us, what should customers be thinking about now as the software industry continues to evolve over the next 5-10 years?
Well, I think customers today have to think about their vision and their strategy. Leaders will be forgiven for a lot of mistakes. They won't be forgiven for a lack of authenticity, nor will they be forgiven for a bad strategy, because the people just work harder, the ditch gets deeper, and they still go nowhere. So you can't get past that. No strategy can prevail in a global economy unless you digitize your enterprise. No enterprise will succeed in a digital economy unto itself.
Yes.
So you have to connect to networks. As we've seen the world more global, we've also seen supply chains much more fragmented than ever before, which is a great opportunity to access things at the best possible price and deliver services that heretofore were never possible to your customers with the access to everything in this global economy. But you have to enable these industry value chains, and you have to do it digitally. Therefore, I give you the perfect enterprise. You've integrated all the applications and processes on a consistent, well-designed platform. You have a gorgeous user experience for all of your users because they expect the same experience on Monday morning in the office that they had on Saturday afternoon on their couch. And you access the business networks and you put them to work for you. With the Internet of Things, Industry 4.0, you have got to use technology to get beyond the enterprise. If you're a manufacturer, you know you're going to have to reinvent your business on a services model that didn't used to exist, because that's where all the efficiencies, that's where all the innovation for your customer is.
Yes.
That's also where your margins and your profit is. So machine to machine is one example in a manufacturing industry, and every industry has their example, where the network effect drives your strategy.